Have you ever wished that you were a miner, but when you went underground to mine things that you actually got to kill other people?
I mean, I feel like if you're going to go under the ground, you should also be murdering people at the same time.
Right, I think that's the only logical conclusion to make is if I'm underground, I need to be killing people, right? Well, this game actually allows you to do that. Hey guys, this is Brax.
And this is Moriarty, and I approve of the Dwarven method.
The Dwarven method, what is that?
Going underground and murdering everybody.
Oh, so now it's a Dwarven method. I don't know what you mean by that, but this is Miner Meltdown, and there aren't any dwarves in it.
Well, then it's just not a very good miner game, is it?
I guess not. I did not realize that a prerequisite for being a miner was to be a dwarf. I don't know what's wrong with you. Why is everything about dwarves with you?
Dwarves are the best fantasy creature. It's easy.
Yeah, they're short, little, fat, bald guys with beards. You're just weird, man.
So what kind of game is this?
This is a battle game. I would call it a shooter, but you don't just use guns. So the main thing is you can expect to get into 4v4 multiplayer battles underground. You do mine things, but mining isn't really the emphasis here. It's more about getting around the map is the only time that you're actually using your pickaxe. And there is one game mode that allows you to collect diamonds, but you can also collect those diamonds by killing the mutants or the other players that you're playing with. So even though this is technically about mining, it's actually more about killing your enemy.
Okay, so it's a multiplayer arena shooter.
Sort of, but not always a shooter, like I said. What it does remind me of in terms of the way you move around was sort of like Starbound, and then at other times I also found it to be a little bit like Terraria, except there's no building going on. It's strictly about killing each other.
Okay.
So the way that it works on a normal level, depending on the game mode you play, but what you can expect is to hop in with a pickaxe, and at the beginning of the round you're given a certain amount of money that you can spend at the shop, so you might only be able to afford a pistol. But the more that you kill mutants on the map or kill your enemies, you gain more revenue for doing that, and the more income you have, the more you can go back to the shop and you can actually unlock some cool stuff. Things like grenade launchers, flamethrowers, different types of assault rifles, a lightning gun I believe was one of the options I saw as well. So lots of different weapons to have, and I thought that diversity was pretty cool, and it did make the actual gameplay more fun than it would have been if it was strictly about, you know, hitting each other with a pickaxe, which thankfully it isn't.
But ultimately this is a multiplayer competitive kill 'em up game.
That is what essentially it boils down to, and the biggest problem with that I noticed is the lobbies are normally not full, and they don't have very many lobbies, period, and that was kind of disappointing. I found myself in lots of lobbies where it might be me and one or two other real players, and then the rest of the people there were bots, so lots of bot fighting going on, and that kind of took the fun out of it because you can absolutely tell whether or not you're fighting a bot because the actual real players have a higher skill set, and I thought it was disappointing. But if I was able to round up 3 friends to play with, I guess that would make it fun.
But it is a team-based multiplayer game, though.
Yeah, you're looking at 4v4s, but when you have to play it with bots, it's like, bleh.
I understand bots are always dumb or they cheat. There's a lot of cheating bots out there, which has always kind of annoyed me. You get into a game and next thing you know, this bot is, 360 no-scoping you when a player wouldn't be able to do that. Or they're so incredibly dumb that they cannot actually do anything. And so you find yourself going, oh, this is too easy. So where does this one lie? Is it on one or the other side of that?
I would say that the bots not doing the right thing strategically isn't as much of a concern as it is in other stuff like CSGO, because this game isn't as tactical as that. The bots do seem to know what's going on when you don't, though. It's almost like the AI knows where you are at all times. At least that was my experience with it. And the bots aren't as fun to play against as real people because their movements are more precise and exact, whereas when you play another player, you guys are jumping around the entire map and it's a little more chaotic. And with the bots, it's just kind of a more boring experience because they already know what they're going to do, whereas with a real player, you kind of feed off of each other within the battle, and if I jump, he'll jump, etc., etc. And the bots just really didn't seem to respond well to the movements and actions that I made.
I understand. Did you have a good time with it?
I did not have a lot of fun with it, simply because of the issue that I mentioned before with not having real people to play with. It really boils back down to that. As far as what they have here, it could be fun, but like I said, if you wanted to do a true 4v4, I would need 7 7 other people to own this game, and right now there just aren't enough people that do own it, and even if there was, there's not enough lobbies to support it.
Yeah, I totally understand that. You know, that's actually the issue that you're seeing now with the game Lawbreakers. Did you remember Lawbreakers?
I remember Lawbreakers coming out, and I remember you telling me a few things about it, but I still haven't played it.
That's a game that comes out from Cliffy B, who was one of the people who worked at Epic. He was one of the people who helped invent Unreal and Unreal Tournament and all that kind of stuff. And he's a big name guy, you know? And that game has 100 concurrent players in it. That's the same kind of problem that you're seeing here. You have to have, if it's a multiplayer game, you have to have enough people playing multiplayer that you can find a lobby. If you go into a game, it doesn't matter how good the game is. It really doesn't. If you go into a game and there's nobody to play with, if you're spending too long getting into a lobby, you're just not going to play that game anymore. Same sort of thing that happened to Lawbreakers has happened to a lot of games. If you pick up an older, like Xbox or PlayStation game, and you go into a lobby, try and find a lobby online, you're not going to find one. There's nowhere to play. You have no one to play with. So you cannot physically do that. At least this game has bots, but as you say, that's not terribly fun, so it's kind of a tough situation.
It is a tough situation. I do think that the game itself is good enough to warrant people playing it, but right now they just don't have any people there. But even if I were to ask other people to play it, I'm not sure I want to do that because it isn't that good of a game where I want to say, hey, guys, you have to get this game, that way you can play it with me. It's not on that level either. Do you know what I mean?
I do, yeah. So it sounds like, at least for me, it's a game that's not going to have enough people playing it to warrant convincing people to play it. You're not going to get your friends and go, oh man, this game's incredible, you have to play it. So it's a not recommend then.
I would not recommend it unless something changes where maybe they market it better and people actually start picking it up. If you see the player base grow, then sure, maybe you would pick it up. It's really not that expensive. I think it's $6. And if they do have players that actually come in and the lobbies fill up a little more, then sure, I would say pick it up for $6. But right now, with no one to play with and really no hope for the future in that regard, I can't recommend it.
That sounds fair to me. I'm looking at it online right now, and I see total number of players today is 3.
Yeah, see, that's absolutely unacceptable. I'm not going to tell anyone to go pick up this game. When you're looking at total number of players being that low of a number, there's really no point. I don't want to play with bots. I want to play with real people. So unfortunately, I can't recommend it, but keep an eye on it in case it does grow and expand a little more. If you're interested in it, check it out on Steam. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to watch another one of those videos in your face right now. This has been Brax.
And this is Moriarty.
And we'll see you guys on the next one.